So Will, this is your code as far as I can tell. I think I just copied and pasted it. Yeah. So I want to compile it and run it. Let's say I put in like a 12.123, and then I want to subtract from that 8.456. And what happens is I altered your code just a little bit because what I wanted to do is show you what here I printed out temp1 and I printed out temp2 and use this way of coding a lot. I call this echo printing. I did some calculations, and then right after that I printed out because I want to find out what it is that I'm doing. So I put in a 12.123, and you can see that the numbers come out properly, and they come out as integers also. And then what you're doing though is you're coming down here and you're subtracting num1 minus num2. Well, num1 and num2 is the original numbers that they put in, and that's not going to work because when you subtract them out, you get this error, and this happens a lot when you subtract. You get this error here. So it looks like you multiplied by 1,000, then divided by 1,000, and then the other problem is that you divided by 1,000. So now it changes. It adds a couple decimal points in front of that. So instead of getting a 3.667 or whatever that was supposed to be, I get a 0.0. I get this thing here. So what you're going to have to do is you got this part right when you have the integer here. Yes, and the integer here. Very good. But then what you need to do is you need to, I'm just going to get rid of a lot of this here. Hold on a second. Temp1 minus temp, and I'm not sure if they wanted the absolute value of that or not, but we'll just, you can tackle that part later. So then I run it, and then if I put in 12.123 and 8.456, okay, now I get 3,667, which I'm going to assume is this number minus this number, and I probably haven't gotten any error. I'm going to just assume that that's correct. I guess I better take a calculator and find out here. Hold on just a second here. 12.123 minus, oops, 12.123 minus 8.456 equals 3,667. Yep, that's correct. Okay, but that's not our answer, right? It needs to be 3.667. So I'm going to take this and divide by 1,000. Okay, and then I think what's going to happen is the problem you've run into. So let's go 12.123, 8.456. Okay, so the difference is 3 now. So instead of the 3.667. So the problem here is, let's do another system out println here. Copy. Let's do one right here. V. I'm going to do it like this. And what I want to do here is I'm going to say temp1 minus temp2 is divided by 1,000. Let's do divided by equals. Oh no, let's do shoot, because this is going to be okay. Let's just do temp1 minus temp2. Let's just subtract it here. It's important that you understand what the computer is thinking versus what you're thinking. You're kind of assuming the computer is smarter than it is, and it's really not. You've got to do all the work for it. So let's run it again. 12.123, 8.456. I get, so when I subtract the two, I get 3667, but then the difference is only 3. So what happens is it takes this, and when it divides by 1,000, it moves the decimal place over to here, but then it changes it into a 3.0, and that's because of this little problem right here. You've got an integer, and when you subtract them, you still get a come up with an integer, but then when you divide by 1000 you still have an integer, so that's why it's changed it into a 3.0. So that's the problem that you're going to have to deal with, and I'll tell you right now, you're going to have to cast something, or I don't know if you could have casted something up here sooner. Maybe you could have made those integers. I'm not 100% sure. Let me drag this off the screen and see what I did. Hold on just a second. I don't want to give it away. Lessons. On mine, yeah, I scanned in a double. And then what did you do? Yeah, you scanned in a double. I don't think what you really necessarily need to do is, I don't think you even need to change those to an integer. I didn't. Let me confirm that. Hold on a second here. Yeah, I only have a total of 3 lines of code in mine. I scan in the doubles, and then the very next thing is I subtract them. So that's what I would do, is you're getting an error because of integer subtraction. And integer subtraction works only when there's not a decimal point involved here. And there's a decimal point involved here because you're dividing by 1000. So that's where your error is going to come in. So you need to handle this thing. You could either cast it, or you could have, I think, just scan them in as doubles, like right here. You could have just scanned those in as doubles and multiplied by 1000, I think, is what you the other thing that you could have done. Keep working on this. Don't give up. You learn a lot more than if I just give you the answer. I will say, though, that it took me just, let's see, it took me the two input statements, so I did those 2 things, and then all I had was a print statement. That's all I had, and I didn't have any of this other stuff. So a total of 3 lines of code altogether, and then that did work. It did give me 100%. And also, I'll say that I can get the right answer sometimes, and I put it into Dr. Java, and Dr. Java thinks I have it wrong. So I have to go back and change the integers to doubles and then cast it to double, or some ridiculous little thing like that I know doesn't really make any difference, but to them it does. So sometimes even I get them wrong and I have to just like adjust. So look at this again very carefully. You can take a look at this code. All you got to do is make sure that it prints out, instead of a 3.0, is 3.667. I'll tell you right now, your problem is right there. So give it another shot. Don't give up on this.